Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 128. Their strive to divide. More politicians playing with our Constitution, and some poor son of a bitch in Hamilton getting a ticket for handshakes. Oh my God. All that and more coming up in the show. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
Mama always said I had a face for radio.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. It is May 25th, 2021, and as I mentioned in the intro, their strive to divide. Yes, Pierre Trudeau's little offspring, potato puppet sock boy Justin, has just basically sided with Yves Blanchette and Premier Legault in regards to having Quebec achieve its nationhood or try to fight for its nationhood regardless. And he's all for amending the Constitution to make it happen. Oh, joy. Now, I've said in my last episodes there, I don't really care who speaks French or who speaks English. As far as I'm concerned, Canada was built on both principles. Okay, as far as I know, two official languages in this country, English and French, French and English. You go to any government office, doesn't matter if it's federal, in some cases provincial too, where you can be served, avez-vous anglais, avez-vous français? It doesn't matter. Now, what gets me is that with all the C10 crap going on, Yves Blanchette is all for it because, well, this law is good. It would help Quebecers. Of course, it'll help Quebecers because you want to get out of the Canadian Constitution as we see it right now, create your own, still earn Canadian money, have Canadian resources being pulled in and money given to you, and you'll create your own constitution. Therefore, you'll have your own freedom of speech and referendums while the rest of the country gets guided by the CRTC guidelines. Brilliant. Now, that's just speculation, though, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but as I sit and I wonder what this maneuvering is all about when it comes to how they want to create more sovereignty and protect this and protect that, we all know it's bullshit. It's about power, okay? Even Jagmeet Singh had the audacity to come on television today and saying, oh, no, we don't want an election because, we have to give this and give that and blah, 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 blah. And more or less he's saying he doesn't have any fucking money or a pot to piss in when it comes to looking after the election, right? That's the thing. He doesn't have a pot to piss in. And let's say if they call an election in September, as I predicted, right? I don't think he'll last too long. I don't think he'll have his seat because he has done nothing but toot the virtual racist card over and over again, even though it's a year anniversary of Mr. Floyd's passing, right? And of course, they're going to be using that to their advantage as well, too, even though it happened in another country, happened in another state, had nothing to do with Canada whatsoever. But of course, there's a few people that were out in the streets there last year protesting, gallivanting around, talking about race and oppression, race and oppression, race and oppression over and over again. And yet a lot of people fail to realize that everyone in this country has an opportunity. Okay. And I can honestly say, and I'm not going to speak for all Canadians, the majority of Canadians here, but I can honestly say that most of us are raised in a household where you still don't really judge people by the color of their skin. You don't. And for anybody who sits there and thinks that we all do and this country's systemic and, oh my God, we have all these problems here, and yet we still fail to look at our parliament and how diverse that is. Or look at our MLAs or look at our MPPs and still fail to realize how diverse every one of those offices really are, right? My physician comes from Moldova, just outside of Romania there, right? So there's diversity right there, right? I have some coworkers that are from other parts of the country. I worked with many men and women from other parts of the globe while I was serving in the military. So don't tell me that Canada has a systemic problem, okay? There are politicians that choose to be systemic, not the country. Anyway, carrying on. More the strive to divide. So here we got a prime minister who really doesn't give a shit about Canada. He doesn't. He's made that very, very clear, right? Post-national state. Post-national, okay, to what? We were national before, but we're not post-national because of multiculturalism? See, we can still have a multicultural identity, but we can also still be Canadian. What a concept, eh? Right? And nobody in my circle is saying, you must assimilate to this, or you must assimilate to that. No, we're not the fucking Borg collective here, ladies and gentlemen. We're a bunch of people that want to get along again and forget about this nasty pandemic BS and stop worrying about being herded like cattle, right? And stop being told what we can do and not do, just so a handful of glory hounds can hold on to their bureaucracies and their paychecks. The light is coming, folks. The light is coming, and people are starting to wake up to it too. And not so much with the freedom rallies or so much for online platforms. A lot of people are just waking up on their own, which is good to see. I have people I've talked to who have written me some wonderful emails and said, thank you for the insight, and thank you for opening this up and standing up for what's right. And it starts with you too, ladies and gentlemen, to ask those tough questions, okay? All right. Last week, I actually had a phone call from the Conservative Party of Canada. My wife's a Conservative. She is. And I don't hate her for it. She's my wife. I love her, right? But we have, we bang heads sometimes with political opinions, but I'm not going to end our marriage because of certain ideologies, right? But they called the house here, and they asked if we were okay and all this. And I've praised this before last year at this time. And I'm saying, okay, well done. Thank you. That is great. That's appreciative. And to me, that shows decent leadership. It does. A genuine reaching out and concern for the constituents in that matter. Okay. But I'd also like to hear from my listeners too, that anybody from any other party has done that. Has anyone that lives in the Liberal riding, have their Liberal reps called you? Or anyone NDP riding, has anyone called you? Or a Green riding for that matter? Or an independent riding, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say who's better, or who's got the better balls, or who's got the bigger dick. I could care less. What I care about is that there are people that are showing some incentive still. Now, regardless of how I feel about the Conservative Party or not, my heart is with basic libertarianism, live and let live. And, of course, I'm also a member of the VCP party, too. So I'm looking forward to a good debate with my fellow running mates coming this federal election, if it does happen in the fall. I'm looking forward to it. Big time. But I do appreciate the phone call. But what got me the most about that call was an actual donation. Of course, you're asking me for money again. Money I don't really have to support your cause. But you stood there and you bugged me and you bugged me. And I said, no, talk to my wife. It's that simple. Okay? But of course, I never called back my wife. So maybe I scared him. I don't know.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
See, what I don't understand too, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're in the 21st century. Okay? It's 2021. Okay? 30 years ago, I never really put a thought to what was going to happen in 30 years. 1991 was there. Okay, Nirvana was big. Grunge was making its turnaround. Glam metal was on its way out. So popular music was changing as we looked. Social things were changing too. More and more people were coming into the closet. More people were being free to express themselves. Art was still good. Music was still good. There wasn't as much strife. Okay? And if there was, it wasn't manufactured strife. It was something that needed to be changed. A lot of changes needed to happen at that time. Okay? When I look now, when it comes to gay rights, yes, by all means. I don't care if Bob and Steve get married. I don't care if June and Ed get married. I could care less who gets married. I could care less who gets divorced. I could care less who gets together. By all means. Live your life to the fullest and enjoy yourself. Okay? Just make sure you protect yourself and you don't hit people and take their stuff, right? Simple principle. But now every time you turn around, they have to emphasize on certain trans issues or certain colors or certain spectrums or certain degrees. And, oh my God, we have to make everything pretty. No, we don't. Life is not always pretty. We know that. But we're also forgetting basic resilience too, okay? We're forgetting that it's okay to sometimes question things. It's okay to question the status quo. It's okay to question these trends. It's okay to be an individual. It's all right to sit and discuss these things, okay? If you have a little boy and he's playing with dolls, that doesn't mean he's going to be trans. I was a little boy. I played dolls with my sister. I also played with action figures, little G.I. Joes, Transformers, GoBots, that kind of thing. I didn't need to change my gender, right? So why is there emphasis on this now? Huh? Is it about control, right? The state wants to also allow kids to decide if they get an injection or not without telling mom and dad. So a 12-year-old boy can't go buy a pack of smokes or a 6-pack of beer, can't vote in a municipal, provincial, or federal election, but he can go and get an injection because his teacher and his administrator and the powers that be said so. Interesting. Well, we had that same dynamic 30 years ago, right? Let's say if this pandemic happened 30 years ago, okay, this respiratory infection that was affecting millions as it has, okay, and the government stepped up and said, okay, well, you can get a needle without telling mom and dad. What kind of shit's that? I wonder how many mom and dads back then would allow that kind of garbage. Really. I can understand you get a shot when you go overseas, or you go to these countries or those countries and certain third world diseases that come and rear its ugly head. Yes, that's understandable. But to bring out a vaccination that still is iffy for some people and then trying to force it on 12-year-old boys and girls, I think there's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. So all the more reasons why they're trying to divide, the strive to divide. Here, kids, you can take this without letting mom and dad know, or without parental consent. Here, kids, you can be this, just like that. Here, kids, you can fly. You're a unicorn. Oh, you identify as this culture, so you get this treatment. Oh, you live in this part of the country, you get that treatment. Wow. Progress, eh?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Please consider subscribing today. You can also check me out in Supercast. Link in the description with the green check mark. You join Supercast. $5 a month gets you all the Crusty Canuck episodes that I put out every month. $5, censorship free. So join Supercast today. It's a Canadian-based company. You join them, you're also helping other podcasters out, such as myself and others. So please join Supercast today for $5. You will not be disappointed. You'll have all the Crusty Canuck episodes you want uncensored. So please join Supercast today. And we're carrying on. A big thank you out there to everybody who came out to the Sunday Fastball, or Fastball Sunday now. It's getting bigger. I'm getting some nice responses. My buddy Fred's getting responses. Chris Semchuk's getting responses. Adam Dan Mezei is getting responses. So please keep tuning in every Sunday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I added the Twitch stream there too. So to all the gamers and other political pundits on the Twitch stream, please join us every Sunday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for Fastball Sunday. 4 or 5 of us sit and have a little talk about politics, the social spectrum, all that stuff that's affecting Canadians and Americans today. So please consider that too. And a big thank you once again to everyone who has come out. My beautiful audience, I'm very, very grateful to what you've all done and what you've all seen so far. And just keep it coming. Keep it coming. So don't be shy. Come on out and say hello and join the conversation with us every Sunday, 4 p.m. That's Fastball Sunday. And to the fans of the Thursday Fastball with Crusty Canuck, that's going to be postponed for a while. I'm working on a different scheme right now because of my working schedule and what have you. I have to keep it probably on hold, but stay tuned to my community page and YouTube page and Facebook pages for updates on that as well. I'm working on trying to get Pierre Poilievre on the cast, as well as others, Stephen Brule, maybe Janice Fiamengo, and others too in the near future. So pay attention again to my community page on YouTube and Facebook, respectively. Anyway, carrying on. Their strive to divide. Okay, we knew that Mr. Trudeau had no intentions of doing really anything beneficial. I guess you can say the sign of the time was people are getting sick of Harper, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we need a new prime minister. Let Justin take over. Yeah, how well did that work out? How many more billions of dollars we are in debt and the spending and the so-called bubble of printing all this money and just buffoonery at its finest. We can talk about the Wee scandal, the 2 Michaels that were kidnapped, right, and held, and they're still being held. We ever heard anything about that lately? No. How about the other clowns at SNC-Lavalin, right? How about other interests in this country? Like I said, the weed scandal, SNC, Lavalin, right? Stalling the pipelines. Bill C-15, Bill C-16, all these other good things that are stalling natural resource development in this country for the sake of what? Now, here we have a great big export that can make Canada a lot of coin, right? And all the Yves Blanchette wannabes out there, make them some coin too. But no, we can't do it because of the impact on the environment, right? But you'll sit there and promote trucks on the highways and trains on the railways with tanks upon tanks upon tanks. And for all these people that are so worried about the carbon footprint, oh my God, the world's going to die in 12 years. What are we going to do? Oh, let's just put it on a truck and a train, right? If you had a pipeline, it'd be a hell of a lot fucking easier, wouldn't it? But no. What do we know, right? What does the rest of the country know, right? And now when it comes to this whole sovereignty of provinces and nationhoods in these provinces, well, okay, Quebec, fine. You become a nation. Then PEI becomes a nation. New Brunswick becomes a nation. Nova Scotia, right? Newfoundland and Labrador, okay? And then Northwest Territories, Nunavut, Yukon, British Columbia. Hell, let Vancouver Island be its own little fucking nation too, right? Their chief export could be proper Kush and Nanaimo bars. Hey, there you go. There's a cash crop, eh? Fantastic. And considering there were so many British Columbians that were just in disgust because some city councilors wanted to change the name because of its colonial roots. Why the fuck not, right? And Alberta, of course, Alberta will be Alberta. So if Quebec is going to get this nationhood, then you might as well give it to the province too, really. Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, okay? That's the thing, right? English can be the official language in Alberta. And it could also be official language in Saskatchewan, maybe with some Germans and Dutch because of the Hutterite colonies, right? So you can have two languages there too. In fact, you could have 3 or 4 different languages based on every city's schematic. Schematic. What the fuck's a schematic? Sounds like something you wear on your feet. But I think you catch my drift, ladies and gentlemen, right? So all the more reasons to call an election now, I would say, regardless of the pandemic or not, okay? And don't demand mail-in ballots for the sake of safety. Demand the real ballots, okay? Because we've all seen these quacks and the bureaucrats. It doesn't matter what party they're in. Travel here, travel there. Go to their fucking cottage in the long weekend, yes. Or take a helicopter ride up north. Or hop on a plane, go to Ireland or Hawaii. Or go down to Arizona, look after property. Yeah. And mail-in ballots would be beneficial? No. Let's go to it. Let's set up a proper voting stations and do the handwritten ballots as we should. Okay? And to my Quebec listeners and Ontario listeners alike, like I've said, we're going to start thinking about who is representing you, not what party they represent or the comfort they promote and whatever bread and circus scheme they keep ramming down your throats. Okay? Ontario used to be the hub of industry. It still is. But that's being thwarted and compromised. So is parts of Quebec. And that's being thwarted and compromised too. So the average Quebec voter and the average Ontario voter that's listening to this podcast, start choosing the better person for the job. Just not what's comfortable or what's trendy. Okay? We got to start using our heads. And I'm speaking to Ontario and Quebec specifically because you are the voting hub when it comes to any federal election, okay? So if you're in the GTA or north of GTA or east of the GTA, all right, think about who is representing you. What's going to be good for democracy in your area? What is going to be good for the economy in your area? What is going to be maybe suitably guaranteed in your area, regardless of party affiliation or not? Okay, and don't look at the gender dynamics or color dynamics. Look at the people that want to represent you. Okay, and look at them as people. Who cares if they're this or who cares that? Look at them as people, because we're all people. It doesn't fucking matter if you're pink, brown, peach, Melba, burgundy. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, we're all people of color here, ladies and gentlemen. We all are. But that's not the governing principle. What's the governing principle is how well can you lead, regardless of your gender or how many toes you have or how many eyes you have. Can you do the job? And who do you think is going to be the right person for the job? It's that simple. So I'm basically going to plead with my listeners in Ontario and Quebec. Choose the right person for the job, regardless of party, regardless of where they stand for this language or that. What's going to be good for Canada? What's going to be good for your area, right? Because if we get a Liberal majority government, it's not going to look pretty. We're going to be more in debt. Inflation is going to go through the roof. If we get another Liberal minority government, is it going to get any better? Ask yourself that, right? So how much more of this division do we have to put up with? Because of the George Floyd incident today, too. Now, of course, a lot of race hustlers are coming out again. And I will call them race hustlers, too. Right? Because you and I both know the difference when it comes to actual racism and blatant ignorance. Okay? And they keep promoting the blatant ignorance over and over again. Were there a few cops that did some stupid things? Yeah, you're damn right there was. Does that mean all police officers are the same category? Well, no. I've said in this show numerous times, ladies and gentlemen, start thinking with your ethics. And to those men and women in uniform that are handing out tickets, i.e. for handshakes, like that poor guy in Hamilton got from some bylaw officer. Okay? And I'll leave a link to in the description about that too. Just, oh God, just pathetic. You know, it's a matter of ethics, folks. And I'm also seeing more and more police officers joining Police on Guard for thee too. So well done, sirs and madams. Well done for doing that, because your oath is also to uphold the Constitution as well, right? Not just take orders from a health official bureaucrat that's pulling in 6 figures a year, you know, while you're struggling to keep your 5.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me on Supercast as well, too. $5 a month gets you all of the Crusty Canuck episodes uncensored. So you get me, my audio, and pure entertainment. Yeah, that's if you're a fan. But please consider joining Supercast today, $5 a month, and help me make this a full-time commitment. And I need you, my beautiful audience out there. Keep donating. Do what you can. Links will be in the description, especially as was just said in the heading there, too. Anyway, carrying on. More of their Thrive to Divide. So when you look at the meme that I put up there, I just took a map of Canada, had some pictures, a lot of equalization going east. And it's not just to Quebec, and I'm not pissing on Quebecers. I piss on the Yves Blanchette wannabes and the Legault wannabes, okay? I worked with a lot of Quebecers in my career, and I got a lot of love and respect for them. Why? Because a lot of them showed me excellent leadership, communication, respect, and loyalty. And not just because of the language differences, but because of the belief in this land we call Canada. Because we all stood on guard for thee, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a lot of respect, a lot of history that both Quebec and Ontario have in building this nation, right? And making this nation what it should be. It should be stronger, and it should be wider, and it should be accessible for all, which it has been. But like these clowns that want to divide us, what have they done? Like I said, deficits through the roof, right? And some politicians that say they stand up for the working class are not standing up for the working class. All the egg meat sings out there that say, oh, we're for the working class people. Really? Then why are you okaying these budgets? Why is it okay to have hyperinflation on the rise? Is that very working class, sir? Okay. Told the Rachel Notleys that agree with the same thing. Oh, really? Hyperinflation is a good thing, so the banks can just print money and hand it out freely with no product going in or going out except more money going to this nation or that nation, right? I think we should put a stall on foreign aid just for a little while, just to see where we stand economically and fiscally, just to keep things, you know, in check, right? Because we all know, too, the more foreign aid you hand out, the people that need it don't get it. It's usually little dictators or little groups or, you know, members of the UN, all that kind of stuff. They end up getting a few extra bucks every fiscal year. And the people that need the food and the medicine, they tend to go without, right? Because you figure all the money that's been given to some of these third world nations over the past 30 years, you would think they'd be set up to become an independent and strong nation. But however, they've become reliant and reliant and reliant and reliant. Right? And every government since, I think, 1975 has done its fair share to give and help. But that money just goes elsewhere. So who knows? Mind you, I'm speculating here, ladies and gentlemen, but still, I think our priority is looking after Canada, right? And it doesn't matter if you're liberal, doesn't matter if you're conservative, doesn't matter if you're NDP or Green, Les Blocs. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist, doesn't matter if you don't give two shits about politics whatsoever. We have to start looking after this country, okay? Right? My Canada includes Quebec. My Canada includes every other province and territory, every nation. Doesn't matter if they're Dene, Ojibwe, Blackfoot, Crow, Iroquois, Mohawk, Micmac. I don't care. Inuit, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that we're constantly being peddled this divide and people trying to project all this guilt. And for what? We're here now. There's stability in this country, hopefully. Knock on wood, right? Let's not worry about what's going on in the South to our neighbors in the South. Okay, let's worry about what's happening here first. Okay, and I'm not trying to disenfranchise my American listeners. No, not at all. I acknowledge George Floyd's passing. It's a terrible crime. It was a crime, and he wasn't an innocent man. He committed some crimes himself. He didn't deserve to die, as far as I'm concerned. And the officer that committed the deed, Mr. Chauvin, he's been punished. Okay, it's time we got to move on. Right? I'm not saying we have to forget it. I'm not saying that let's just put it under the rug and, let's look forward to other opportunities. Let's look forward to opportunities, but let's not hang on to it as if it's some badge of honor, because it's not honorable to constantly worry about and guilt people. Because I also remember the riots that came after that too. And there were a lot of marches up here in Canada as well, right? Especially during the restrictions and lockdowns. So it speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. These politicians will take a knee to something that happened in another country, yet they won't take a knee for our fallen men or women. You know what I mean? And to my veterans that are listening out here, you guys know. Anyway, I got a little blurb here from Pierre Poilievre. Tell me what you think. Yeah, this is from Pierre Poilievre. He's talking to the House in regards to what Jagmeet Singh believes in, and his statement towards the Bank of Canada, and in regards to hyperinflation. Pay attention.
Once again, is how they seem to have no problem with this money printing exercise, even though it has been proven, and the Bank of Canada governor has admitted that it balloons the assets of the super rich while diluting the wages of the working class. It is an inflation tax that transfers money from the have-nots to the have-yachts. I would think the NDP, which claims to care so much about the gap between rich and poor, would have something to say about that inflation tax. What shocks me with...
See, that's the thing, we are seeing inflation when it comes to lumber, gasoline, groceries, right? And those clowns, i.e. Liberals and ADPs, have been backing each other up since the minority government, right? So we're not seeing any kind of segue. We're not seeing any kind of, we're not seeing any kind of headway at all. We're just seeing more crap, more garbage. Anyway, here's more.
Just wonder if the member could enumerate some of the positive things that he thinks are good in the budget.
The honourable member for Carleton.
Well, I rise today to point out that this extremely costly 700-page, $500 billion budget will raise the cost of living for working class people. That when you print money to pay your bills, you drive up the cost of living, increasing inflation, which drives up interest rates. Those higher interest rates applied to record levels of household, corporate, and governmental debt will lead to an inevitable debt crisis. So the government is not giving anything, it is actually taking away, and it is doing so through the most surreptitious and insidious method, which is an inflation tax brought on by heavy doses of printing money that will hurt the working class while helping the super rich and causing a debt crisis. That is not the direction we should be on. Thank you.
And rightfully so. Why should be on helping the rich all the time? Now, I've had some debates on my Facebook page with some people who are just pro-NDP and pro-Hammer and Thickle, and yes, workers unite. And yet half those people forget that they don't work themselves, and they're either living at home or living off the expense of somebody else. See, the trick is to be able to get out there and buy a home, okay? Scrimp and save, do what you can and put a healthy down payment in a house. I get that. And also be able to go to your job knowing you have job security and that you can save up for a pension or obtain a pension of some sort to get yourself in that loop, okay? Now, I do admire Pierre Poilievre. I do, because I like his tongue-in-cheek. I like his wit. I like his smarts. You know, he's a family man. Yes, even though he okayed the pay raise too in April 1st. But I hold everyone on account for that in Parliament. But he's made a valid point. You know, I've criticized the last fucking budget because it wasn't a budget. It was just a report on how much more money they're going to spend. And the mainstream media spent too much goddamn time worrying about Chrystia Freeland's fucking shoes, let alone what the report was going to say or what the budget really was. A joke, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, save your pennies. Get some dry goods, you know. If you can obtain fuel, you know, in a timely manner, by all means. But make sure you use jerry cans, though. Okay? And my friends in the States, I'm sure we've all seen the footage of people getting bag upon bag of gasoline. Get your bag of gasoline today. Don't be those people, folks. Don't get oodles of bags of gasoline. Just be a little smarter than that, please. Okay? But still, I digress a bit. It's just getting ridiculous on some of the mandates that these government officials are pushing. And it just goes to prove that it doesn't matter if you have a degree in this or a degree in that, or you have the smarts here, smarts there. We're not seeing enough street smarts in these government offices, right? We're not seeing the can-do attitude. We're seeing the can-won't attitude.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, carrying on with the strive to divide. So the only thing I'm seeing is catering to special interests and special groups again. Okay, My Canada has always been inclusive, as far as I can remember. Always been inclusive. There was no need to worry about equity quotas. There was no need to worry about how many people of this were here or how many people of that were here. Because even when you keep promoting that model, you are still dividing people. You're still putting people in categories. So what some so-called educated morons call progress, it's regress. It's regression. Okay? You're still denying opportunities to people. You give people jobs based on their merit. Okay? You give people the opportunity based on the merit. Not just because, oh, well, this person comes from here and this area has been known to be marginalized over the centuries, so therefore, well, here's a position for you. No, you give it to somebody because they have what it takes. Whether you're an employer, whether you're a manager or a supervisor, or you have the hiring authority, or they have the appointing authority, you give it to somebody because they have what it takes. Okay? They, as a people. Not as a group or someone who identifies as they as a people. Doesn't matter if they're black, white, Asian, First Nation, East Indian. You know, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the person has what it takes and he or she can do the job to the best of their ability. In order for those people to get up and get ahead on the ladder of progress, then they work harder and they gain the notoriety and they gain the knowledge and they gain the respect of their coworkers and they earn it. Just like what you and I have had to, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? In the military, I had to merit for my rank. I had to earn it. I had to get certain ticks in the box. And it didn't matter who I worked with or worked for. I had to maintain a certain degree and get up that ladder to do my job. Right? And regardless of the circumstances I went through in 2014 or not, I still went to work every day and did the best I could with what I had. That's what it takes, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And just because it may be harder for someone to learn the language or harder for someone to try and get along here, that's life. There's always going to be somebody there who might be able to run faster or carry more weight or be a better shot. There might be somebody out there who's a better skater than what you are or a better runner than you are. So what? That's up to you as an individual to fix and to change if you want to do that. But you know the game. You got to get ahead. Well, you might have to work a bit harder. I fucking loathe mathematics, but it's there. It's infinite. It's an exact science, and it does change from time to time. But if I want to learn it and upgrade my math skills, I can do it. Right? It's that simple. Let's get rid of this victimhood bullshit. Start carrying on with real progress. Okay? I have my demons. I have my issues. But guess what? They don't control me. They don't make me. Right? You make you. It's that simple. Right? So let's not promote this further divide anymore. Let's not promote this hyper bubble of inflation. Let's not give those motherfuckers the satisfaction. All right? Start to smash the tunnels of these manufactured darkness to bring more light into our lives. Okay? You see the freedom rallies out there. We've all heard these politicians talk about how, freedom rallies are nothing but white nationalism. That's bullshit. Because every piece of footage I have seen thus far on these freedom rallies, you're seeing a quite diverse mix of individuals. Black, white, First Nations, Asian. It doesn't matter. People are getting tired. People are getting fed up. People are having enough of this shit. So if you're ever at any kind of symposium or any kind of facsimile or somebody similar to Justin Trudeau or Yves Blanchette is talking about unity, call them on it. Tell them to prove it. What's their plan? Rather than dividing up the nation like some sick, disgusting pie. Eh? We got to start putting these people to account. It's that simple. So if they do call an election in August, which means, we'll have one in October, and we got to fight for what's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got to fight for the good fight. This democracy. This democracy is a good fight. Now, the parliamentary system is not perfect. I get it. But it's a hell of a lot better than something totalitarian. And we've all seen what the totalitarian regime is doing. For example, that poor guy in Hamilton who got a ticket for shaking someone's hand. Or the Whistle Stop Cafe. Right? Or Pastor Artur Pawlowski and his brother. They're being stopped at a major roadway in Calgary and being hauled to jail as if they were, child molesters or something. And there's bigger fish out there to fry in the criminal underworld. But no, we have to enforce these health restrictions, right? Because, we're just following orders. Yeah, well, I've heard that story before too. And I don't buy that mandate. But like I say, if there's any bylaw officers or police officers in this podcast right now, it's up to you to make the right decisions and use your ethics, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly. So the next time you find yourself writing a ticket to somebody, especially in these economic trying times, and you figure, okay, I'm going to write you a ticket for $1,400 because you failed to comply to some health order. Think about what you're doing. Okay? Think about it. Regardless if these tickets go to court or not, it's not the point. It's the principle. Okay? We know you're fighting for your jobs. We know you're fighting for your right to exist and do your thing too. But think about it, for example. Think about it just for a second or two. Are you really helping? Are you really doing what's right? Or are you just walking some party line? Something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. This has been episode 128 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Their strive to divide. I want to thank everybody who came out there my last Sunday Fastball or Fastball Sunday. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, especially for the wonderful emails I've been receiving this past week too. And please check out my store, Customized Girl. I'll leave links in the description for you on YouTube and Podbean, respectively. And please weigh in. Share this stuff around too. Help the algorithm out. Help us independent folk get our words of wisdom out there. And I'd like to make this a full-time commitment, so please consider donating and all that good stuff today too. $5 a month, let's say from half of my audience. Wow, I would be onto something really fantastic. And I'm very appreciative, everybody. I'm very appreciative to my audience, especially with some of the great comments I've been receiving the past month too. Wow, you guys are fucking awesome. But like, my grandparents used to say, keep your chin up, do what you can, help each other out. Look after your friends and loved ones to the best of your ability. Weather is getting better outside, so I'm going to start gardening next couple of days once the warms up a bit more. I got a lot of beans and tomatoes to plant this year, so hopefully I'll have some nice produce come the fall, but time will tell. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times, and we will find light in this manufactured darkness. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.